Sorry, what are you gonna say?
Did you hear? I forget what team. Sorry, can I add one? I think it
Yeah,
was
go
the
on.
Cleveland Spiders. They were having a hard time selling tickets, so they decided to hire a small person from the local fair and have him at bat. Since, well, his hitbox is too small, they can't possibly throw a strike. And he had one at bat. He got signed by the team, and he walked in his one at bat.
Dude,
He just ducked down, and they
why
couldn't
didn't
throw a strike
why
at him.
can't they why hasn't that been tried again? Like surely the White Sox and the Rockies can't get any worse. Speaking of Cleveland, trying something new to bring fans into the game. I didn't even write this down. This is off the dome. This is maybe my favorite baseball story. Do you know the legend of 10-cent beer night?
Disco discs that they threw out. Yeah, I've heard about this, I
No,
believe.
no, the baseball
This is
one.
a fucking shit show, but I love it. What am I thinking about when they threw all the disco discs on the
Let me
field
enlighten
and then
you.
they
Let me
started
enlighten
a
you.
fire?
On the 10th
I'm
of
not
June,
thinking about the Billy Joel song. Please,
on the
please.
10th of June, 1974, the Cleveland Indians, they're called that at the time, they had a bit of an idea. So they played the Texas Rangers in Texas a few weeks before. And because they're going to go back to Cleveland and play another series, they asked the Rangers manager. They said, "How do you feel about going to Cleveland and playing them again?" And he said, "They don't have enough fans for us to get worried about." That's what he said. Because the attendances were dropping, Cleveland were not doing too well. So the Indians didn't like that he said that, but they kind of knew he was right. They thought, we don't have loads of fans. So how do we change that? How do we make sure that when the Rangers come to play in our town, the stadium is packed? They go, we can't just tell them to get behind the team, get behind the city. That's not realistic. People don't care about that. We have to find something else. So they said, what if we make beers 10 cents? You might think this was 1974. What would the modern day equivalent be? Skiddy, the modern day equivalent would still be 50 cents. It was still fucking insane how cheap these beers were. It would be like going to Fenway and getting a
Oh,
beer for 50 cents or a
fuck,
dollar.
man.
So it was cheaper than the bar, which meant that people were not going for the game, they were going for unlimited 10-cent beer. What ended up happening is by the seventh inning, roughly, I believe, fans got so drunk that one of them stormed the field and tried to take this guy's hat, and the player pretty much kicked this fan in the leg. And what happened is all the fans rushed the field. The Rangers on the field with bats and tried to fight them back. The Cleveland police had to go on with these bats. All three bases were stolen. The stadium organist, started playing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" over the organ to try and calm down the crowd. Didn't work, and they had to send in the Cleveland Riot Police to shut it down. The radio announcer was punched in the face by a fan, and there were a few streakers. And so what they did is no one is too severely injured, but obviously it was a disaster. It was chaos. So the Cleveland Indians, they sat down. They thought, you know what? We have to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. We have to make sure an idea like this does not facilitate again. So what they did is they tried again a month later, but they added a drinking limit. They added a drinks limit. Because what happened pretty much is that they do just have a truck, and they'd have one girl pouring the beer, one girl collecting the money. And it didn't really go as planned because of how mobbed these things got. So what happened is the mob like flipped the table over, and the girls just fucked off. Like we're not getting like murked out for a bunch of like alcoholics from Cleveland, pretty much. So then they started pouring the
Not
tap into
worth
their
it,
mouths.
10% beer.
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
that's probably my favorite baseball stories. SportsCenter did a really good mini documentary about it where they found some of the fans, and one of the fans that they interviewed went on to win like Citizen of the Year in his local town, which made me smile. Um, so yeah, that wasn't even on the list. I just had that. I just know that by heart. And Shane is one
My
that showed me the
favorite.
video. We watched it the first time a few years ago. We thought it was really funny. So for Christmas, I got him a mug that's a replica of the cups from 10 Cent Beer Night. Um, which
Hell
I
yeah.
thought was pretty cool.